Hello and welcome. Squadron Supreme is one of Marvel's most bizarre.
That's only one way to find out if this mic works.
There's very few complete stories, one of which is the focus of this video. But the Squadron has been around, off and on, for many years, and they've had more than a few iterations. They start as a parody, or homage, or rip-off, depending on your point of view, before spinning off in their own direction. After the 12-issue series in question, the team was effectively put on ice for many years, until it was revived in the early 2000s. So let's briefly look at the early days of the team, how it evolved, and what led to the 12-issue series that is usually compared to Watchmen. Squadron Supreme begins as Squadron Sinister in Avengers number 69. Although that appearance is merely one panel, the next issue is when they're properly introduced. The setup is, Kang and the Grandmaster agree to a game where both select champions to represent them. Should Kang win,
hey Joseph,
power he wants.
check the check your rids and then check the screen, see if it echoes.
And Grandmaster selects Squadron Sinister. As we learn, the Squadron was created by Grandmaster to defeat.
I wonder if it's picking up the game.
These four challengers are Dr. Spectre, Hyperion, Nighthawk, who is a different
Cookies?
of Nighthawk from
Yeah, don't you think?
and Wizard. It's no secret.
Yeah, if you don't have headphones, it's probably picking up the game.
Yeah. Oh, when I use the laptop mic, it's pretty good. It cancels it out somehow.
Still, he's obviously a standout.
But this one might, and it's far away from the source.
And the Squadron unceremoniously disappear as the
Man, I need to put my
Squadron
frickin' teeth in. Dude,
The team next appears in Avengers number 85. Except this time, they're Squadron Supreme and have a number of new members. Again, there's still a parallel to the Justice League.
they start shooting at you for 1 star. That's a little extreme, no?
They're heroes from another dimension, not creations of Grandmaster. Even though the cover of Avengers number 141 says the Squadron Sinister returns, it's actually the Squadron Supreme, as the Wizard explains in that issue. You'd think they'd correct the cover instead of throwing.
And then 250, I think.
But I guess not.
Did you season them?
Anyway, this is the
Joseph
story of
Mahar?
the Squadron, who fight on behalf of the Roxxon
Throw-
Corporation.
Throw some salt on them, salt and pepper. My bad, I could have.
Insert your own modern parallels here. With the Avengers' help, the Squadron's world is free from tyranny. Skipping forward a bit, this brings us to Defenders, issue number 112. This directly ties into the well-known Squadron Supreme series from 1985. When President Rockefeller resigns, Kyle Richmond is elected president. He's then corrupted by an alien called Overmind. Overmind is actually a manifestation of the Eternals joined together, but I don't want to get into that and deviate too much here. Using fear and misinformation,
That's pretty.
undesirables and subversives are rounded up and, well, let's cut to the chase. America becomes a totalitarian regime. Of course, Overmind's ultimate goal is to take over the world, and that's when the Squadron decides to
Oh,
resist.
shit, I didn't know the volume was set
The
up.
Defenders help out and free the world from Overmind's control. Although technically, the big bad was secretly Null, the living darkness. But whatever, same difference. The Squadron's world is now free from control, but in disarray.
So Squadron Supreme,
This is where the Squadron
its own
Supreme series
standalone
picks up.
thing?
Yeah, it's actually Marvel's ripoff of the Justice League,
Okay.
which makes it kind of meta. You know what I mean? Because then the Watchmen were a third-rate
At a team meeting,
Chesterton or whatever
acknowledge that
character.
credibility is in the toilet,
Like,
and
so-
they have to do something to achieve public forgiveness for their direct participation in the
Yeah,
dictatorship.
basically they're direct. I mean, it's so direct, it's comical. Like the Wizard,
Argue that the moral
and then on top, his
responsible thing
name's
to
a
do
fucking
would be to
wizard,
take charge themselves
and then
create a
Nighthawk
utopian
and
state.
Hyperion. Like
Instead
they're
of simply
straight up.
reacting to criminal
But that was their
acts, they
point.
should
You
be
know what I mean? It
proactive and
wasn't.
solve all the world's problems.
What do you call that when it's
That
a
would be the
direct?
right
There's
thing
a
to
name
do.
for when it's a like a
Batman,
one
I mean,
for one.
Nighthawk argues
Yeah.
that a perfect world
Analogy
given
is
to
a little bit
humanity
different, and
is
not
vastly different than
pistache
one
or whatever they
that's
call it.
However, the
But
majority
yeah,
of
it
the
was
team
like their
disagree,
blatant
and they vote to
Justice
use
League
their power
team,
to assume control
which makes
and
it
force
kind
the
of
world
cute
to
too,
conform to
cool
their
over the world.
standard.
And they've been in
They
and
also
out. They've
decide
had
to
their
change the
different
world
stuff.
within 1 year.
But the guy
Now,
who
I know
did
that's a pretty
Squadron
harsh read,
Supreme is
but
actually
it's
a
not
pretty
wrong.
cool dude. And
The
he's
arguments
one
that
of
the
the
Squadron
guys
Supreme
at
should become a
Marvel, like you
dictatorship
were
to
talking about
replace
the
the prior
Canon
one.
Police. I'm
The
pretty sure
decision
he's
is
one of
rolled
them.
in
Is it Steve
democratically,
Vike?
but really 12 people with power deciding the
But
fate of
yeah,
the
he's a
world
pretty
is
cool
the
dude.
complete opposite of a democratic choice for everyone else. Furthermore, Hyperion, the team leader, is the most powerful among them.
He's one
While
of
the
the
majority may
guys at
actually agree
Marvel,
with him, they
like you
also
were talking
know,
about the
on some
Canon
level,
Police.
they can't go against him. If he's determined to follow through with this
But yeah, the
plan,
mic's a
there's
lot
no matter
louder
what
than the
anyone
game
can do
now.
to
Where
stop
before
him.
I could barely
Put in
hear
that
me and I could
context,
not
Hyperion,
understand
the
what your
Cowled
mother was
Princess,
saying.
offer an ultimatum, not
And
an
Trick would
actual
be like
choice.
leaving it right here in the
Sure,
middle.
their motives are
See
pure.
how it
They
goes.
simply
Well,
want to
talk.
help.
I'll
And
just
you
try
could
spoiling
argue
right now.
they
I'll be
are,
back.
technically, the best
Okay.
humanity has to offer. Except that the two main proponents of the plan are a genetically modified woman from a segregated society that left the planet, and an alien who has adopted this world but rejects its values. Due to their origin and experience, their objectivity or ability to relate to the human condition is highly questionable. Although, in the final issue, it is revealed, or retconned, that Hyperion is actually a highly advanced human being, not an alien. However, the point stands because, until that point, he believes he's an alien. By the way, this isn't a critique of the story. I'm bringing up the complex questions and ethics that lie below the surface, because it is a straightforward, earnest premise. The intentions are explicit, and most would agree they are honorable. It's the execution and ramifications that will determine just how pure those intentions turn out to be. The double-sized issue ends, with Nighthawk struggling to assassinate Hyperion and ending this movement before it begins. However, he cannot. To highlight how Hyperion is willing to take extreme measures to achieve the utopian goal, when the bad guy, Scarlet Centurion, appears to issue a challenge, Hyperion straight up says he'll murder him if he attacks Earth. Scarlet Centurion retreats instead of pressing the matter. The Tom Thumb, feels displaced and ignored by the team. He withdraws to his lab to work on inventions instead of working in the field. Nuke suspects the radiation he emits has given his dying parents cancer, so he asks Tom to find a cure. Tom discovers that curing cancer is well beyond his abilities. He even tries to make a deal with Scarlet Centurion, who lives well into the future, where all disease has been cured. However, Scarlet Centurion wants Tom to kill Hyperion in exchange for a cure. Tom cannot agree. He returns to the present and informs Nuke of his failure. This is not news Nuke takes well. In an ironic twist, Tom discovers he also has cancer. While the squadron begins to rid the world of weapons, Dr. Spectrum finds and confronts Nuke, whose parents have recently died. Nuke is an emotional mess, and in an effort to restrain him, Spectrum accidentally kills Nuke. Surprisingly, both the squadron and Nuke's younger brother basically justify it as a necessary death. The anti-weapon crusade continues. Tom, who kind of missed the message in A Clockwork Orange, invents a machine that will cure criminals of bad behavior. Well, it will cure anyone of any behavior, given the proper commands. But the intended purpose is to offer criminals a way to be released from jail by permanently modifying their behavior. There is a brief objection to the procedure, but it's argued if someone doesn't live within the arbitrary, socially acceptable rules, that person is given the right to decide their own actions.
You see
They
that?
must be forced to conform for the greater good.
Yeah, dude.
Of
Come
course,
on.
that's a greater good decided by only 12 people. The team votes to use this behavior modification device. At this point, the squadron embraces being dictators. Freedom of choice has become an illusion. After all, this procedure is not a choice. It's an ultimatum disguised as an option. Except, it's not optional. Green Arrow asks Golden Archer asks Lady Lark to marry him. She rejects him, so Golden Archer drugs her and changes her mind with the indoctrination machine. This will not turn out well. In the following issue, Golden Archer and members of the
You should be
Squadron's
making
family
money,
are
dude.
abducted by the Institute of Evil. I suspect these baddies are loosely based on the Brotherhood of Evil from Doom Patrol, or a blend of both those teams. Anyway, this kidnapping scheme is easily foiled. The team constructs and occupies a hidden city to act as their base of operations. The former Institute members are then brainwashed and made members of the squadron. Amphibian finally decides he's had enough of this fascist plot and leaves the team.
Oh, you gotta do it.
It's then revealed that Golden Archer changed Lady Lark's brain so she would love him. Both members also leave the team, so there are major fractures beginning to form. As an observation, the series began as solving the world's problems, but at this point, it's entirely focused on America, so its scope narrowed dramatically. Of course, this implies an egocentric point of view, where changing America changes the world by default. Anyway, the story stops being about the world and just focuses on changing America. The villain, Master Menace, rescues the first Hyperion, the one created back in Avengers number 70, to replace the current Hyperion and destroy the Squadron from within. This plan actually works. However, the replacement Hyperion falls in love with Power Princess, and he decides to kill her husband, seduce her, and permanently stay on this world. He then trashes Master Menace's equipment, and the villain has to escape to the Purgatory dimension, where he found this Hyperion. The original Hyperion, who was sent to Purgatory the previous issue, and Master Menace make a deal and work together to escape this realm. After which, Hyperion beats his replacement to death. After the battle and the damage sustained, Hyperion is blind. It's a pretty great allusion to the fact that Hyperion doesn't see how this dictatorship has a lot of resistance to it, nor does he, or anyone else, see the flaws in their logic, and ethics, and morals. Desperate and dying, Tom returns to the future to steal the cancer cure from Scarlet Centurion. After doing so, he discovers that centuries of selective breeding has wiped out cancer, not a magical potion. His ethically compromised effort was in vain. In one of the oddest endings for a character and a comic, the final panel announces Tom's death. Tragically, he dies off panel, and ultimately, a failure. One subplot that's been slowly building is Nighthawk recruiting people to take down the Squadron. 2 of these recruits become members of the Squadron. Meanwhile, the Squadron decide to put all dead people into suspended animation until they can cure death. One of Nighthawk's crew steals the plan to the behavior modification device and sends it to Master Menace. Master Menace then alters the machine to reverse the process and restore those modified to their original state. Former members of the Institute of Evil are kidnapped, change back to themselves, and join with Nighthawk to take the Squadron down. A member of the Squadron discovers this plot. Nighthawk has to accept a necessary evil by changing this person's memories to prevent the plan from being revealed. As promised, the Squadron steps down and restores power to the American government. After which, Nighthawk confronts and attacks the Squadron. The battle leaves a number of members on either side dead, including Nighthawk. Before that, Nighthawk argues that Hyperion's utopia only works if there are always people with the best intentions running it, which is something that can never be guaranteed. What they've forced on America is tenuous and easily exploited. Finally seeing the error of his ways, Hyperion disbands the Squadron and promises to undo all the changes they've made. Overall, Squadron Supreme argues for free will and freedom of choice. Neither are a group decision. They are, and should remain, choices for an individual. Society as a whole may dislike those individual choices and feel it's necessary to take action against them. But suppressing and forcing a person into a narrow window of conformity is incompatible with the human experience. It limits basic, immutable human rights to those that have been deemed worthwhile. Put another way, give people tools and they will use them. Force them to use those same tools and they will break them. Superheroes, as icons of the best aspects and intentions of humanity, are unable to thread the moral and ethical needle of benevolent authoritarianism. That's the message. That level of assumed forced control is a power no one should be permitted to use. No one, not ever, not under any circumstances. Because even the best of us are flawed and have blind spots, and that's presuming the best intentions.
That's some salt on. Yeah.
Am I doing bone side up or back side up?
One
It's
popular
bone side
talking
down,
point
isn't
is that
it?
Squadron
You look
Supreme
it up
and
every
Watchmen are
time,
quite
dude.
similar.
I don't
Plus the
know why.
check-lifting
So
and pride.
everyone's got
Squadron
weird little
Supreme is
things they
sometimes
can't
called
remember.
Watchmen
That's your
before
250.
Watchmen.
Yeah, I think 250.
Naturally,
225
I
takes
have an
like 7
opinion and a
hours.
few
Yeah.
arguments to back it up.
I think
So
the
are
best way
Watchmen
is
and
like
Squadron Supreme
250, and then
similar?
when they come to temp, turn
Well,
it down to like
no.
200 to
I
maybe
can already hear
220,
the angry
maybe.
mob
I'm
forming
pretty
outside
sure
my
it's bone
apartment.
side down.
But
I think it's
hear
bone
me
side
out.
down to keep the
The
juice,
only
try
way
to
to
keep the
compare the
juice
two
up.
is on a very, very basic level. Boiling them down to their core theme, one could say they're both about the difficult moral and ethical choices one must make to save the world. Admittedly, it could be argued they are two different approaches to the same problem. On that level, sure, the two have similarities. However, it's the specifics where the comparison falls apart. One
Now I
can't
have the
say both are
podcast
about a
too long.
group of superheroes saving the world.
The sound mix is
Because
off.
in
Yeah,
Watchmen,
I did
there's
it
only
in
one person
OBS.
with a plan, Adrian Veidt. Everyone else is
I
spinning their
just learned
wheels,
that you can
thinking it's a
adjust the
murder mystery
recording
they're
name.
solving.
For my
They're
dinner,
completely
because
oblivious to what's
I gotta
actually
leave here at
going
5:30.
on.
What?
I'm gonna
Furthermore,
have some
no
of that
one,
fucking
other
rice.
than Dr.
Okay.
Manhattan,
Uh,
has any powers.
Mom might
They're
get you
simply
something to eat
normal people in garish costumes.
on the way there.
So Watchmen isn't about superheroes saving the
Grab
world.
something.
It's about a megalomaniac with a vision, taking extreme
So,
action to hide his plan by
and I
nullifying the
don't
only
know, but I
superhero
bet you
and
that might
misdirecting
be what
everyone
she's thinking.
else.
Because it's
Despite
Friday on top of
appearances
that.
or recent sequels, whether the world is actually saved is kind of the point of the
Did you get
ending.
some more stuff done today?
In Squadron Supreme, world domination, which simplifies to American
I'm
tyranny,
just
is
saying,
a
I
group
know you were doing
decision amongst a number of people with actual
uh
superpowers.
because yeah,
So they
anything
decide to become
cisgender
benevolent
It's
dictators
really
and
happy.
remove all the elements they
and you keep
perceive as
bringing
leading to
loot.
conflict. They are not subtle.
Yeah,
They are
that's
very
right.
public
Yeah,
and take actions that are not kept secret.
that's why
They
she
apply
let you go
force
camping,
rather than guide
because she
change.
started getting
And ultimately,
notifications
they fail.
yesterday.
It's not ambiguous.
You know,
It
she
can't
started
be
getting her
ambiguous
carbon
or undermines
copies.
the overall message. Going a level deeper, Watchmen unites the world against a common enemy. The conflict humanity usually inflict upon themselves is deferred to an outside source. Their aggression is redirected. In Squadron Supreme, the underlying conflict most people express towards one thing or another is not redirected. It's told to be suppressed. If there's resistance, it's forcibly suppressed, with overwhelming power and technology. Watchmen is an attempt to unite the world and get the powers that be to work together through deception, while Squadron divides the world into who has power and who does not. And those in power make the choices that determine what those without it can and cannot do. See, once you broaden the scope and actually compare them beyond a fundamental level, a comparison falls apart in a matter of seconds. More to the point, Squadron is a cautionary tale about the dangers of people with power assuming all the power. It quickly leads to a democracy becoming a dictatorship. There are many real historical antecedents that support that conclusion, which may seem like a cynical point of view, but it's simply how fascism always plays out. It promises something it will not deliver. If a comparison is to be made, I would suggest The Authority indirectly borrows from Squadron Supreme. Both teams tell the world they are watching and will take action when people step out of line. The similarity is rather noticeable. A closer comparison would be Injustice. I don't want to spoil the inciting incident, but Superman decides, you know what, I'm going to stop being so restrained. Cutting to the chase, he becomes a dictator, with Wonder Woman at his side, while Batman finds a way to unite others against Superman. If you're talking fundamentals, Injustice is Squadron Supreme through a more violent, modern lens. An even more recent series that looks at the same issues is Power Fantasy. It's not a direct parallel, but it explores similar ethical and moral questions. Nowadays, I think a modern audience will see the complexity of Squadron Supreme's theme and its approach, but they will also recognize it's kind of quaint in its execution. It highlights a lot of problems, but due to it being intended for a young, mainstream audience, it's mostly surface level and abrupt when examining those issues. Which doesn't make it terrible. I don't want to imply that whatsoever. It's appropriate for the audience it was directed at.
We'll
and it's
see.
admirable
Okay.
for trying to have something to say. Or at the very least, giving a reader something to think through without telling them what the response should be.
Let's get to my destination.
Wrong.
Tapping.
When I decided to make this film, I didn't want to make your standard
I was going to end this video with the direct follow-up by the same creative team, and then the various reboots in the early part of the millennium. However, just looking at the series took a lot longer than I expected, so I'll save everything for a later time. But, just to give you the highlights, this series was followed by the graphic novel Death of a Universe. After that, the Squadron did make appearances here and there, but the next major update was a Marvel Max reboot in 2003. That would last 18 issues, with numerous tie-in miniseries, before being rebooted again as a mainstream Marvel title. That series died out after 7 issues. The writer, J. Michael Straczynski, thought the new restraints he faced affected the quality of his writing, and he couldn't continue. So the series ends at the beginning of a new story that has never been finished. After a forced crossover with the Ultimate Universe, Squadron Supreme was rebooted once again, and it would last 12 issues.
We have an unfinished story?
A 4-issue Marvel Max
What?
series was published, and that seemingly did nothing to revive the more adult version of the team. Finally, in 2016, after the events of Secret War, various members of various iterations of Squadron Supreme and one member from the new universe title, DP7, come together to form a new team on the 616 Earth. This title, like Captain Britain and MI-13, had unfortunate timing. Both were strong, but they were undermined by the ongoing saga of the Marvel Universe. They had to pause their main story to integrate crossover events, which was not ideal for a title struggling to find its identity in a market flooded with competition. The series would last a mere 15 issues. It's complete, but abrupt. There you go. That's a sketch of the team, following the well-remembered 1985 series. Thank you for watching. Yeah, like Squadron Supreme, that was a pretty abrupt ending. But I thought I'd said all that needed to be said, and the summary I wrote sounded, a little tedious. It didn't add anything except time, and, I got bored reading it out loud. So I figured I'd said enough already, and cut it. Goodbye, my darling. Please subscribe, like, and all that engagement stuff. And turn on notifications, because the algorithm is notoriously, let's call it, finicky. Naturally, I'd like to take a moment and thank all my fine supporters on Patreon and YouTube. Times are a little tough at the moment, so I really appreciate that ongoing support. It does make a difference, so thank you. Extra special thanks to Chapel Pluto, John Woolham, Plutocracy, Spencer Estes, Green Man, Constant Disappointment Records, Jeff Nicholson, Sickin, Francis De La Cruz, Russell Bull, John Nyukes, Andrew Barton, Odin Ashcroft, Ruby St. Dennis, Phil Sagan, Edward Clayton Andrew, Corey Drew, Brian Deaton, Tom Granis, John Gaunt, James Graham, and Matt Marino. You were all justified and ancient. Until next time. Hey, look, a classic ending.
My first time.
Yeah, hopefully I got enough weapons here to get through this. Uh-oh. It's not going to give me my display back, is it? Desktop.
I was thinking,
Oh, yeah.
never mind.
Okay.
No, I was thinking maybe I should go for a walk.
A walk?
Yeah.
Who are you and what have you done with Nate?
Yeah, no, it doesn't really make sense, does it?
No.
Okay, let me just go back to... Oh, no, I really feel like I should walk.
You really got ants in your pants this morning.
I guess I do. How is it out there?
My first time
Really
that
cold.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll just finish this nap, actually. No, I really feel like something's compelling me to go for a walk.
Well, if you got to do it,
I feel like I gotta do it.
just remember what I said about the top of the mountain. There's nothing up there. White triangle, etc.
Yeah, no, I remember that whole thing. I won't expect anything more beyond this point.
Okay.
It's just a walk for its own sake. I'm going into that understanding. I'm going into this understanding, Matt.
Dinner's at 6.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll be back.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Woo-woo.
Woo-woo.
Those are the opening credits, says Gumboat. What am I fucking playing?
Up we go.
Have you checked out the Steam sale?
What's on sale?
I don't know. Check it out.
What?
Uh, Do me a favor. Make me a cup of coffee, please. And stay in there and talk. Oh, never mind. Yeah, it's working. But there might be some good old stuff on there.
There usually is.
I played GTA 2, I think. I don't know if I beat it, but it was kind of, yeah. I never beat, there's some on there. Fallout, dude, I tried to play, but like, it's
Which one? 4?
the original.
Oh,
But it's those classic games, dude, require time. Like, they require a lot of time.
the original Fallout's it's like it's a
No,
it's
it's a RPG.
it's
It's
a
a
game.
WRPG. Yep, the
What's the
original.
path behind the cabin?
So, all those little group of early PC
Demon,
RPGs.
thank you for the 37 months.
There's
Is that where
Fallout,
we're going? Nice
Planescape
singing, Doc. A few
Torment,
times got more range than
uh,
Call of Duty 7's maps.
even not Baldur's, even Diablo a little bit, dude.
The
It was
original.
just more actiony. It was a little bit more actiony, yeah. But I'm pretty sure the original Fallout gets credit for its writing and other
Careful,
shit.
Doc. You haven't
Supposedly
danced
it's
like
worth
that in years.
playing.
Might pull a ham. He says layer cake with the 3-4
I
tempo.
tried to play it like fuck. Part you gotta use a walkthrough. It's really not that fun.
I thought we were done with the game. You beat the game. This is 5 hours of extra behind cabin behind. I thought we... This is not the second half of the game. Doc, it's over, but you can continue exploring. Oh, yeah?
Seen the holy light, and I'm very blessed by God to have seen it.
On April 19, 2025, thousands of Orthodox Christians gathered at Jerusalem's Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
From Jerusalem,
I ain't got
we'll
time
give
for
peace
this.
all around the world. Jesus is risen.
Something extraordinary is stirring in the hearts of believers and watchers of biblical prophecy alike. From October 6th to 13th, the world enters into a period that many are calling prophetically charged. And it's no coincidence that these dates align with the Jewish festival of Sukkot. This is not just another holiday on the calendar. It is a sacred season that holds deep prophetic symbolism, pointing to God's provision, His promises, and, some say, even the nearness of Jesus' return. What makes this year's observance even more urgent is the rising tide of global unrest, political tension in Israel, and the growing sense that something monumental is about to unfold. Could this be the appointed time Scripture has hinted at all along? Sukkot, also known as the Feast of Tabernacles, is a celebratory Jewish festival rooted in the book of Leviticus. Historically, it commemorates the Israelites' journey through the wilderness, when God provided for His people and dwelled among them. But in prophecy, Sukkot carries weight beyond remembrance. It points toward a future reality of God's kingdom dwelling with man. For Christians who study end times prophecy, this week-long feast has always symbolized the millennial reign of Christ, a time when peace, joy, and divine presence will fill the earth. That's why many eyes are fixed on October 6th to 13th, 2025, wondering if the events surrounding this year's Sukkot could signal more than tradition, perhaps a revelation. Why are so many people talking about this particular week? The answer lies in the convergence of signs. In Israel, tensions are at a boiling point. Conflicts in Gaza, threats from neighboring nations, and calls for peace and security echo eerily familiar warnings found in the Bible. Global economies are teetering, natural disasters are intensifying, and morality seems to be collapsing at breakneck speed. In Matthew 24, Jesus himself warned that these signs would multiply before his return. Now, With Sukkot's themes of divine dwelling and ultimate fulfillment, believers see October 6th through 13th as a divinely appointed window of significance. For those unfamiliar, Sukkot is marked by the building of temporary shelters, or sukkahs, symbolizing both the fragility of human life and the eternal shelter found in God's presence. Families eat and sometimes sleep in these booths, reminding themselves that true security is never in governments, armies, or wealth. It is in the Lord alone. Imagine the weight of that symbolism against today's backdrop of wars, collapsing markets, and widespread fear. At a time when people are searching desperately for safety, Sukkot stands as a bold reminder. God alone provides refuge. Is it any wonder that prophecy watchers believe this could be the perfect moment for God to make a statement to the world? The intrigue deepens when we consider the prophetic pattern of the Jewish feasts. Passover foreshadowed Christ's sacrifice. Pentecost was fulfilled with the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, and many argue that the fall feasts, including Sukkot, point to events yet to come. If God fulfilled the earlier feasts with precision, why would he not do the same with the final ones? This thought electrifies prophecy communities.
How the fuck we
Could
gonna
the
know where
Feast
he
of
is?
Tabernacles
He's
in
gonna talk to us till his
2025
battery
mark
runs
a
out.
turning
Come on,
point?
we gotta bounce.
A signpost of Jesus' soon return, or even a harbinger of global shaking meant to awaken
Gotta make this
humanity?
quick.
One
Mike doesn't
cannot
got
ignore
much
the
time on his
cultural and
battery left.
spiritual hunger that surrounds this conversation. Across
says he
social
can hear
media
seagulls.
platforms,
Mike can
YouTube
hear
channels,
golf.
and prophecy
Seagulls?
forums,
Shit,
people are
that could be
buzzing about
anywhere in this
October
town.
6th
He
through
can hear heavy
13th.
machinery.
They are asking urgent
Heavy
questions.
machinery?
Will
What
we
is that, a
see a
building site
prophetic
or
sign in the
landfill or something?
heavens?
There's a
Will
building site
world
in
events
Georgia.
erupt in ways that align with Scripture? Or will this be a week of spiritual awakening, preparing believers for what is soon to come? Regardless of the specifics, one thing is certain. This season is stirring hearts to seek God
Thank
like
you.
never before.
Thank you.
Critics may
Hey, just
dismiss
hang
such
in there, Mike.
anticipation
Help
as
is on the
hype,
way.
yet even they cannot deny the alignment of timing, Scripture, and current events. The Bible urges believers to watch and be ready, not to scoff at the signs. The Apostle Paul wrote in 1 Thessalonians 5 that the day of the Lord will not overtake true followers like a thief, because they are children of light, awake to the signs of the times. To ignore the significance of October 6th and 13th would be to miss a chance to deepen faith, renew watchfulness, and realign priorities. For Christians, the value of watching this prophetic week is not merely about prediction, it's about preparation. Sukkot is a feast of joy, a reminder that God is with his people, but it is also a warning. The temporary shelters point to the fact that this world is not our permanent home. As nations shake and uncertainty mounts, believers are called to build their lives on the eternal foundation of Christ. October 6th through 13th is more than a date range. It's an invitation to press into God's presence, to live with urgency.
I'm trying.
To proclaim
I
hope
just
in a world
unsteady.
drowned in fear. So, what should you do with the prophecy of October 6th to 13th? First, don't dismiss it as mere speculation. Allow the timing of Sukkot to stir your faith. Spend time in prayer and in Scripture, especially passages like Zechariah 14, which prophesies that all nations will one day come to Jerusalem to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. Second, be watchful, both spiritually and practically. As Jesus urged, keep oil in your lamps and live as though his return could be at any moment.
Stop it.
Finally, share the
That's
hope of the gospel with those around you. If indeed we are in the final chapters of history, then the urgency to spread the good news has never been greater. The prophecy of October 6th to 13th is not just something to observe, it's something to live. It calls us to celebrate God's provision, to remember his promises, and to prepare for his ultimate dwelling among his people. Whether this
Dude, you're killing me. It's hurting. It's literally hurting me. This is hurting me. This is hurting me. This is hurting me. This is the brain. This hurt. This hurts. I don't know why I'm not accomplishing anything.
Immortal because of the real man.
No.
Real man in the sense of an essential
I don't know
human,
why
our
I'm
true
so
self.
lost.
Later, all living things, including
It's the mini map, dude. You
into
can't
male
trust the
and
mini
female
map.
so
You
they can
literally
multiply.
cannot do that
However,
mini map,
humans
bro.
retain this dual
The city's
nature,
literally
an
designed to
immortal
do this to
essence
you.
that is
You gotta
divine,
stop.
and a mortal body body that is
See,
tied
that's
to the
going the
world
wrong
and
fucking
controlled by
way.
fate,
Oh my
capital
god.
F,
Okay,
fate.
stop.
In Hermetism, fate could be
Stop.
described as a
Pull out the
cosmic
mini
force
map,
or
look at
external
it, figure
energy
out
that
where the.
governs the world and imposes action
Okay,
on it,
turn
and is
around
closely
here.
related to the
Here.
movement of the stars and planets.
Okay.
One Hermetic text says the stars serve fate. One can neither escape fate nor protect oneself from the powerful influence of the stars.
Was I going the
Stars
right
are the
way?
engine
Maybe.
of fate. By fate's decree, all things reach their intended end in nature and among human beings.
Can't
Fate
keep
was
it on the
also
road.
administered by the decans, the Egyptian zodiac. These were 36 constellations that were important for tracking the calendar, and they had astrological significance as well. They were conceptualized as Egyptian astral deities who controlled 10 days each for a total of 360 days. Hermetists believed that the decans, together with the 7 planets, could cause major events like famines, droughts, and earthquakes. But fate really only controls our bodies and the world of matter, not our true essential self. The divine part of humanity can break free from fate. Another Hermetic text reads, we have the power to choose. To choose the better is up to us. Choosing, when dictated by vices, draws near to bodily nature. Since all intelligent reason in us has free choice, fate does not control it.
That almost got
So
me.
this dual divine material nature means that the mundane world can distract us or turn us away from the correct path. And some Hermetic texts describe this human condition somewhat pessimistically. When Andreas reads, he who loves the body which is born from the error of desire remains wandering in the dark, insensibly suffers the effects of death. The other texts describe it more optimistically. Humanity's dual material and divine nature means that humans occupy an honored middle position between gods and material things. The Hermetic text called Asclepius reads, wondering at heavenly beings and worshipping them, tending earthly beings and governing
That's a
them.
long
So
way,
humanity
dude.
stands between
That
the
is
earthly
a
and
long way
but
around.
regardless
Is
of
it
how the
gonna
human
take me
condition is
around
framed,
again?
Hermetic texts share a deep concern with ascending and reuniting with the Supreme God. In a dramatic scene in Poem Andres, the soul after death ascends through the 7 heavens and merges with the first mind. This is the final good for those who have received knowledge, to be made God. With the mortal body left behind,
Where the
one
fuck?
must ascend to the highest realms, the 8th and 9th spheres. Why the 8th and 9th? Well, remember that the 7 planetary spheres govern the material world through fate, so you need to ascend above
I don't
them
know
in
what
order to be
happened there,
beyond
dude.
the influence
I
of fate,
literally
where your
don't know.
ascension
I'm
truly
sorry.
can reunite with the
Apologize.
divine.
I have no
These
idea what
realms are
happened
called
there.
the Ogdoad and Ennead, respectively. The Ogdoad means the eightfold. In its original meaning, it refers to the 8 primordial deities of Egyptian religion. In the Hermetic system, though,
So you
this
got to
is
go
called the 8
around the
powers
circle to
that
get
lift
back
the
out of.
realm
Let me
of
see.
Demiurge.
No,
This realm
dude.
is the 8th sphere of the cosmos, located just beyond the 7 planets.
It's out here.
The Ennead, on the other hand, means the ninefold, and it's an even higher realm of existence. In Egyptian mythology, it referred to the 9 great deities worshipped at Heliopolis: Atum, Shu,
It's
Tefnut,
right there.
Geb, Nut, Osiris,
It's not
Isis, Set,
inside.
and Nephthys.
You
In
gotta.
Hermetic cosmology, the Ennead becomes the
Okay,
9th
so if
sphere
I
of the
come
cosmos, where
in,
the self-begotten Nous dwells.
I go
And this is
around
the
the circle.
destination of the most righteous souls after death. So how do you ascend
That's
up into
one
the 8th
way.
and 9th? Well, various texts provide instructions on how to achieve this ascension. Scholars call these instructions the Way of Hermes. Though, as we'll discuss in the next section, we should be careful about framing this Way of Hermes as a
You got to
distinct
get out of
religious
it. Yep,
community.
it
A
tricks
lot
you.
of
You
Hermetic
go
texts
out,
could be classified as initiatory,
and you have to do a
but it's not really an
U-turn
initiation into a
to
distinct
get
cult,
underneath.
like the cult of Isis or the cult of Mithras. Hermetism
Wow,
probably wasn't
that's a
that
little
well
fucked up,
organized, but if you
guys.
call them
You got to
initiatory
do a
in the sense that
U-turn.
these texts serve the
Okay,
purpose
to
of
go.
guiding a reader or a disciple
Let me
through a
see.
transformative mystical journey of deeper and deeper knowledge. This path to
To get
deathlessness
into
or
the inside
salvation is
circle.
not for everyone, but only for an elect few. In fact, some Hermetic texts describe something like the belief in the transmigration of the soul. As in, after death, one's soul is usually reborn into another body. The souls of the just are
Wow.
reborn as kings, philosophers, and
So how,
esteemed
and we get out of
intellectuals.
this one? How do
The
we get
souls
out
of
of
the
this
wicked,
one?
though, are reborn in the bodies of animals. One text reads, "Yet
Right
if you are
there.
workers of greater sins, you
Huh.
will not advance from the molded body when your due service is paid. You will not dwell in heaven, nor even in human bodies.
Wow.
You will complete the rest of your lives wandering the bodies of
So Dad,
non-reasoning beasts. Only the most
me
righteous
and
will
the
ascend after
devil
death, which might
walking
take many
side by
lifetimes."
side.
Another text reads, "Do you see how many bodies we must pass through, my son? How many troops of demons, cosmic connections, and stellar circuits in order to hasten toward the
I
one
need a
and
break.
only?" But for the initiates who are worthy and righteous enough to
Gotta warm
attain
up my
it,
coffee.
this means breaking free from fate, learning the secrets needed to pass beyond the planetary spheres. The starting point appears to be gnosis, or knowledge, particularly knowledge of the self. People need to obtain true, intimate knowledge of their true divine nature. We saw this in that quote from Poimandres, which describes merging with the Supreme God after death, the final good for those who have received knowledge. The initiate must be taught that they are an immortal being, with the potential to ascend through the heavenly spheres and reunite with their true source. In Book 4 of the Corpus Hermeticum, Hermes tells his son, "Knowledge is not a beginning of the good, but it furnishes us with the beginning of the good that will be known. So let us seize this beginning and travel with all speed, for the path is very crooked that leaves familiar things of the present to return to primordial things of old." Now, in Poimandres, this ascent and merging with God is something that happens to you after you die. But other writings interpreted this as an ecstatic experience, which could happen to every hermetist in this life. Dr. David Litwood describes it as a rebirth into higher divine consciousness. And several Hermetic texts seem to describe rituals where an initiate could experience a rebirth and activate their higher consciousness. One of the best examples is Book 13 of the Corpus Hermeticum, where Hermes' son Tot undergoes a ritual of rebirth. The text begins with Tot asking Hermes to teach him the way. "I am ready now, and my mind is set firmly away from the beguilement of the world. Fulfill your promise to me in which you said you would set before me the way in which rebirth is bestowed." Hermes responds by explaining that rebirth requires that Tot cleanse himself of the irrational torments of matter. These torments of matter are a list of vices or sins, like injustice, lust, greed, and envy, but chief among them is ignorance. Next, Tot must observe a period of ritual silence, before Hermes announces that Tot is being purified by God and is being filled with divine power, most notably, knowledge. After all, you need knowledge to get rid of that ignorance. "Henceforth, my child, rejoice. The powers of God purify you anew. To us has come knowledge of God, and when it comes, my child, ignorance has been expelled." So now that Tot has been filled with these divine powers, Hermes then teaches Tot how to perform the Hymn of Rebirth, an earthly version of a cosmic song. And the text actually goes into a lot of detail about how to perform it. "And so, my son, standing in an open space and facing south at the descent of the setting sun, kneel down in prayer, and likewise face east at sunrise." And here's why I said you can sometimes find ritual techniques in the philosophical books. The text has specific instructions on how to perform this hymn. The scholar Christian Bull thinks that the hymn that follows was actually performed by Hermetic groups and may have been drawn from a Hermetic hymnal. It's even titled Secret Hymn Book, Song Number 4. So maybe it was part of a collection. The hymn itself praises God as the source of all existence and order in the cosmos. "Together let us praise him, raised high above the heavens, creator of all nature." Now, the hymn lyrics don't actually look like a typical ancient Greek religious hymn. In fact, a lot of the language looks more like what we see in Greek magical papyri from Egypt. So some scholars think it was translated from an Egyptian original. Overall, Corpus Hermeticum 13 describes a mystical experience that transforms the initiate. He no longer identifies with his material body, but has merged with the nous. It's called a rebirth because he essentially is a new human. Scholars describe it almost like an exorcism. You exorcise all of that ignorance, deceit, and envy, and replace it with knowledge, truth, and joy.
What's happening
And
here?
being filled with these divine powers, the person essentially is now composed of a new, immaterial, and immortal body, a body impervious to the vicissitudes of fate. It also means that when this initiate dies, their essential self will automatically be released and returned to its place of origin. Another text describing an initiate glimpsing the 8th and 9th realms is called the Discourse on the 8th and 9th, which was discovered among the Nag Hammadi codices. The text begins with Tot reminding Hermes of his promise to induct him into the Ogdoad and Ennead. "My father, yesterday you promised me that you would bring my mind to the 8th and afterwards you would bring me into the 9th. Hermes agrees and they start singing a hymn of ascent. At its climax, the initiate sees the 8th sphere. "I see the Ogdoad and the souls that are in it, and the angels singing hymns to the Ennead and its power. And I see him who has all their
How
power
you doing,
and who
baby?
creates by means of the spirit."
Good.
In other words, the initiate glimpses what he will see when his body dissolves and his soul ascends after death. From these two texts, we see that Hermetists were deeply concerned with a transformative process of rebirth and the soul rejoining God after death, but both emphasize that you can experience an ecstatic union with the divine even while alive, which you could achieve through personal purification and proper ritual. Now, the fact that these two texts describe specific hymns raises the question, what did Hermetic practice look like? Scholars have long debated if there were Hermetic religious communities, like were there people walking around calling themselves Hermetists, attending Hermetic churches, and performing this ritual of rebirth. To answer this question, it's helpful to consider what we mean by religious community. One might think of a community similar to a Christian church. In late antique Egypt, Christian was a social identity. Christian communities would meet at recognizable buildings called basilicas, led by recognizable religious authorities called priests or monks. They shared a sacred story about the death and resurrection of Jesus, and they shared communal rituals like baptism or the Eucharist. This kind of structure provides a clear sense of identity and belonging to its adherents, and a clear set of characteristics that help us identify a specific religion that we call Christianity. On the other hand, we can imagine a looser, less definable group, maybe something like a reading circle or a philosophical society, groups where individuals are drawn together by a shared interest in certain texts and ideas, but without formalized doctrines or authoritative leadership. Scholars in recent years have argued there must have been some sort of Hermetic communities, though it's difficult to envision what they really looked like on the ground. Scattered throughout Hermetic texts are references to communal rituals, like a ritual embrace and formal prayers. A great example is found from another text from the Nag Hammadi codices, the so-called Prayer of Thanksgiving, which appears to be some sort of Hermetic liturgical prayer, possibly chanted as part of a Hermetic gathering. The prayer starts with an introductory line. This is the prayer that they spoke, perhaps alluding to an actual social group, before it launches into a prayer of thanks for the Supreme God. We give thanks to you. Every soul and heart is lifted up to you, honored with the name God and praised with the name Father. Hermetic ideas permeate the prayer, like the idea that humans possess a spark of the divine, and that there's a connection between the divine mind and the human mind, enabling them to comprehend higher truth. We rejoice having been illuminated by your knowledge. We rejoice because while we were in the body, you have made us divine through your knowledge. Again, notice that focus on gnosis. The prayer ends with a side note that again seems to imply a ritual gathering of some sort. When they had said these things in the prayer, they embraced each other and they went to eat their holy food, which has no blood in it. This seems to be a reference to a vegetarian sacramental meal, which is also mentioned in another Hermetic text called Asclepius. Wishing these things, we turn to a pure meal without flesh of animals. Now, it might be a stretch to say that this prayer was performed in a liturgical setting, like a Hermetic church, though maybe we can envision something like a Masonic lodge, a fraternity, or a philosophical school. We just don't know. David Litwin envisions something like a philosophical discussion group, a loose group of individuals seeking salvation through initiatory readings. Christian Bull argues that wherever and however these rituals were performed, these gatherings likely involved Egyptian priesthoods and groups connected somehow to Egyptian temples and Roman Egypt. He speculates we can envision an Egyptian priest setting up a reading group in the marketplace or public forum, or maybe in the private house of a wealthy individual. Ancient texts also mention Egyptian priests living in temple complexes, like they actually lived there, like on a campus, and groups would gather for banquets or other gatherings in a room or building on the premises. Dr. Bull proposes that Hermetism might have originated in groups devoted to various Egyptian gods around the turn of the Common Era. As the educated elite of the Roman Empire traveled to Egypt, seeking the ancient wisdom that Egypt was famous for, Egyptian religion became commercialized, so to speak. Priestly associations dedicated to Thoth Hermes sprang up in cities like Hermopolis and Thebes, where pilgrims could be instructed by actual Egyptian priests. And these Egyptian priests adopted the language and vocabulary of Greco-Roman philosophy, combining Egyptian and Greek elements in a way that would have seemed exotically Egyptian to foreigners, but accessible to any educated person. So we don't have evidence that people were walking around calling themselves Hermetists, like how Christian was a label of self-identity by this time. But it is likely there were voluntary associations of people reading these texts, holding to a Hermetic worldview of the cosmos and salvation, and participating in Hermetic rituals like that prayer of Thanksgiving. It's tricky though, because these texts reflect the opinions of literate experts, literate philosophers speculating about the nature of the universe and God. So when you pick up Poem Andreas, are we getting a glimpse into a worldview and ritual life shared by a lot of people, or are we just getting a glimpse into the mind of a single literate philosopher? Overall, Hermetism offered what we could call a practical theology, an attempt to bridge abstract philosophical ideas with lived practical experience. Yes, Hermetism was rooted in complex theoretical cosmology and ideas about the nature of the divine, but it also offered concrete practices that initiated followers on a path towards salvation. For Hermetists, salvation is not something you just passively await. It's actively pursued through a process of alienation from the world, rebirth, and mystical union with the Supreme God. The belief that humans possess a dual nature, part material, part divine, implies an ethical responsibility to govern one's body and mind properly. Hermetic teachings thus encouraged followers to transcend earthly desires
You like
and
that?
distractions of the material world in order to break free from fate's control. In this sense, Hermetism provides a pathway not only for understanding the cosmos, but for living a righteous, divinely attuned life. So we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of Religion for Breakfast. I published my first video in October 2014, and back then one of my earliest inspirations was Abigail Thorne over at PhilosophyTube. She was starting to publish talking head explainer videos about philosophy. I was starting to publish explainer talking head videos about religious studies, but while my format has stayed mostly the same over the years, she has evolved into publishing these amazing 1-hour-long deep dives with elaborate costumes and sketches, and she's just recently jumped to the next level, releasing her first original short film, Dracula's Ex-Girlfriend. It's about two former rivals who share the same toxic ex, Count Dracula. Now, I know a lot of you watching my channel are into esoteric topics and the occult, so trust me, there's definitely some audience crossover appeal here. What better way to kick off spooky season than a film about vampires made by a philosophy content creator? You can watch it exclusively on Nebula, a streaming service built by and for independent creators, where you can watch a ton of amazing content totally ad-free. And Abigail's film is a great example of what we're doing at Nebula, empowering independent creators to elevate their work, giving them the freedom and resources to make better stories with better production value, all without the negative incentives of clickbait and advertiser-friendly guidelines that you find on other platforms. You can find original content like Archaeology Quest, a show featuring two science creators trying to learn how to live in the Stone Age, making their own tools and hunting. We've also started a current events-based show called What to Follow USA, where the TLDR news team guides you through the weekly chaos of American political news. Nebula originals like these are the best example of what we do on Nebula. We're a group of dedicated creators coming together on our own platform to push ourselves to the next level. To get a yearly Nebula subscription for 40% off, head on over to go.nebula.tv/religionforbreakfast. That works out to be $36 a year or only $3 a month. You can also get a lifetime membership for $300. Pay once, get Nebula access forever. That's a great choice if you don't want another subscription. Again, that's go.nebula.tv/religionforbreakfast. Thanks, everyone.
I've been on my back all day.
I'm not invisible, moron. I'll let you handcuff me anytime. Baby. I'll let you handcuff me anytime, baby.
Watch it. You got it.
Sorry, my fault entirely.
You could help me get over me, kinda.
My butt.
I need something to sip on, man.
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it. Never gonna get it. Never gonna get it, never gonna get it. Never gonna get it, never gonna get it. Do-do-do. Because we are free men.
Hey, watch it.
Mm.
I really like the taste of multiple women.
T-Bone, pump your brakes, baby. Take a chill pill and just lay back and let the red mist fall, brother.
Hey, Holmes, open your eyes, dog. Can't you see we're getting messed with here, Holmes?
Hey, partner, T-Bone, look, it's Carl. Now, he's a real hero out there.
Sad.
See? We still good.
What, are you Vato stupid? Someone's onto us. We need to go back and rethink.
I think they was just trying their luck.
Mike, I've been trying to contact you. What? Oh, man, where are you? Okay.
Gotta make this quick. Mike doesn't got much time on his battery left.
He says he can hear seagulls. Mike can hear gulls.
Seagulls? Shit, that could be anywhere in this town.
He can hear heavy machinery.
Seagulls and heavy machinery? What is that, a building site or landfill or something?
There's a building site in Doherty.
But he was born about a month and a half later in the year than my daughter was. And we found out yesterday that puts him on the other side.
Hey, just hang in there, Mike. Help is on the way. He says he can hear a truck reversing. He says it's busy like a freight depot or something.
Freight? Oh, they must be down at the dock.
Get to the docks in Easter Basin. Hey, we'll be there in a minute, Mike. Mike's cell phone battery's running low. Shit, he says they stopped, then he heard gunfire. He thinks they just shot their way through a security gate.
They don't have heavy security at the docks, but they do at the airport's freight depot.
See how we
to
do
the
this
airport,
time.
rapido.
Decisions.
Mike can hear aircraft taking off and landing. Hey, don't worry, Mike. We're nearly there.
Up this hill.
There's the gate.
And some dead security guards.
Hey, this is the place. Keep your eyes peeled for that van. Okay, the tag should work now, Holmes.
Tag? What the hell is a tag?
After that last bit of trouble,
What the hell is a
Mike
tag?
transported in the white. We was gonna follow it to the gang, but something must have fucked up. And now we gotta use it to find the van and rescue Mike.
Oh, how it work?
Simple. Closer we get, the stronger the signal. Mike's cell phone is nearly dead. Shit, there they are.
Wrong guy.
Lucky. I got lucky there.
Hey, man, come on, hurry up.
Apúrate.
About time, T-Bone. Who the fuck is this?
Hey, that's one of Jizzy's clowns. Relax, Güero.
You hear that? We gotta torch this van with the coke in it.
Hey, Charlie, Güero, we ain't torching nada.
This is a setback, but doing 20 to life is a little more than that. Comprende, amigo?
Hey, he right, man. Let's do it and get the hell out of
Hey,
here.
who the fuck asked you, payaso? This ain't a committee.
Exactly. I call the shots here. Now shut up and let's go.
What am I gonna take, dude? Okay. This is crazy. This thing's on fire.
God, I love myself. I smell great.
Boosh, come on. Get your sperm.
Moving swiftly on from my wife. You're on I say, you say, and what's your pleasure?
Yeah, this is Brad. I'm really into pleasure myself.
Good grief!
Well, that's my business, but I feel discriminated against. Not only can I not practice my hobby in the privacy of my own garden or car, but my movies are rated as pornographic. I mean, let me ask you a question. Threesome, right?
Well, that's where our problem started.
Yeah.
Producer.
Well, right. I ran a movie with 2 chicks and a dude, and it's called a porno. People look at me like I'm some sort of creep. But it's natural. When I run a movie with 2 dudes and a chick, it's all in French.
Well, at least our star's going down.
Called an art house love triangle. But it's revolting.
No, you're revolting. Get off the airwaves and into therapy, buddy.
Oh, that's the problem with men. You're imbeciles.
And yet, you married me.
God, don't rub it in. I did. I was desperate. That's all we have time for, luckily. This show is headed downhill. When you take the worst qualities of an elephant and a donkey, you get a lot of shit. We'll see you next time on I Say, You Say.
You said you liked me in that donkey.
Jackass.
I Say, You Say is heard only on WCTR. Be thankful.
Coming soon to the Los Santos Convention Center, it's Mike Andrews.
Poor people, stop complaining. Start living. You can't take...
Cool. Come on. Come on. Oh. That's, oh, whoa, that's pure luck. Where the hell? Are we out of soap? Hold on. Where's the bar soap? Here, let me take the lid off. There, and go pour a little on your hands. Go ahead. Oh, watch it. Watch it. I gotta go. It's not in here. Okay. Okay. That's fake. Stop. Just stop. Freeze. Everybody freeze. Everybody freeze. This is how it works. It's not just in the game. It's outside the game. Okay, I'm coming, baby. I'm coming. Okay, boom. Luckily, we have Insta save. Nice. Okay. We already have a mask, so we just gotta go with it. Here, put it in his hand. There you go. Okay, now go wash your hands. There you go. Good girl.
Ankles to ears.
The revolution needs strong brothers like you. Clean the lies from your ears, brother. My plastic bubble.
Hey there.
Good job, girl.
Dad, having a good logger in the back of my squad car.
What? No, it wasn't. That's all right. Yeah, you should have taken it back to the bathroom and then poured it over your hand. But it's okay. We cleaned it up. All right, all right. What are we doing? Don't we distract.
Chale, stay and talk, esa. Esa vapolote, esa. Get a load of that.
T-Bone! Gotta make this quick. Mike doesn't got much time on his battery left. He says he can hear seagulls. Mike can hear gulls.
Seagulls? Shit, that could be anywhere in this town.
He can hear heavy machinery.
Seagulls? Heavy machinery? What is that, a building site or landfill or something?
There's a building site in Doherty.
WCTR, committed to bringing you shows like The Wild Traveler, even if we received a cease and desist.
I'm running on air. I'm walking on clouds. I don't exercise.
I don't care. Pump it.
Hey, just hang in there, Mike. Help is on the way.
High technology polyester shoes to walk around the mall and shop for more sports equipment I won't play sports in. I need to get more from life. Much more. I need to get high. Really high. Right on air. Oh, yeah. These Air shoes really pump up.
That's right. You can now buy some air. The science of sports and marketing results in a shoe that pumps. Sounds silly to you? What if we told you that Air's pump up would improve your game by 300%?
But I don't have a game.
You gotta have game. Be a winner.
Pump up and slam dunk.
Oh, yeah.
God, the size of your shoes.
You'll shave seconds off your personal best.
Oh,
He says he can hear a truck reversing. He says it's busy like a freight depot or something.
Freight? Oh, they must be down at the docks.
Get to the docks in Easter Basin. Hey, we'll be there in a minute, Mike.
Chill out, asshole.
Mike's cell phone battery's running low.
Oh God, why did I do that? Yeah, did I screw myself? Maybe. Hey, what's up, kid?
Shit, he says they stopped. Then he heard gunfire. He thinks they just shot their way through a security gate.
They don't have heavy security at the docks, but they do at the airport's freight depot.
To the airport, rápido.
Hey, beautiful.
Mike can hear aircraft taking off and landing. Hey, don't worry, Mike. We're nearly there.
Well, I'm recording this careful.
And some dead security guard.
Hey, this is the place. Keep
What's
your
up?
eyes peeled for that van. Okay, the tag should work now, Holmes.
Tag? What the hell is a tag?
After that last bit of trouble, Mike hid the transponder in the white. We was gonna follow it to the gang, but something must have fucked up. And now we gotta use it to find the van and rescue Mike.
Oh, how it work?
Simple. Closer we get, the stronger the signal. Mike's cell phone is nearly dead. Shit, there they are.
I'm way out here in the middle of nowhere. Ouch. Sad face panda.
I need that shit you drive.
Go save. Me and your son got the mic work.
I see that. No, when I walked in, I was like, uh-oh.
And your daughter loves it.
Oh, is he dead?
Yeah.
I joined for dinner.
What, a stag cookie or something?
First.
Why did I start the ribs? Oh, yeah.
No.
I don't know either.
Did you start the ribs?
They'll be done for us, but I figure you might get something for Bubs on the way.
Broke up and calls that one time.
Yeah.
It's Friday. It's Friday night.
Wow.
No, I didn't realize it was Friday. I wanted Zlotsky's.
I know. I was like, what are you talking about, bro? Ribs can always hold it too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
By the time they get better,
When
rest overnight.
That's true, though.
Because you stick them back in the oven.
But, yeah, I can take you to get some meat on it. And, I was gonna say, probably need to stop too and at least get out like a 20 for gas. Because usually like these fall fellowship things, like, no, it's not like a big submission slip and whatnot, but I'm pretty sure like...
Oh, yeah, to help with gas? Yeah.
Huh?
Those vans take a lot of gas.
They take a lot of gas.
Yeah, see if they'll take, right? Yeah.
I was gonna say, the other ones I've taken you to, like, he doesn't make it a big deal, but he said, well, I'll take contributions to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, Mr. Dowdy, I think, pays for it out of pocket. Like, so
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
you should probably pick up the 20 at least to give towards gas.
That's got to be.
Okay, and then, yeah.
Try to speak into the mic, please.
Oh my God.
Like Joe Rogan.
No.
Speaking of mic,
But,
No, he'd move up. Move up. Try to move up a little bit.
Up to the mic. But yeah, so if you pull that out, I'll get your dinner. Or you cover the gas, I'll get your dinner. So you gotta be there at 6.
Yes. I go
15.
to pick up.
It's like,
And we've done a little bit of. We're caught up to Wednesday, I believe.
that was like, all right.
Mm-hmm. So we're only 2 days behind.
Only 2 days. That's good. But yeah, so we'll be back. Anyway. Oh yeah, pull up your stuff so I can see my oh that's you have to express.
I can use the crumb.
Okay, I'm following that. So
Better on Sydney. Isabel. Gonna use her. She has 2 laptops.
Yes.
Oh.
She does.
2
She has 2 laptops.
Oh.
Hello and welcome to Cartoonist Kayfabe. My name is Jim Rugg. I'm Ed Piskor. We're going to look at the famous artist course, Lesson 3, Composition, How to Make Pictures. I've been looking forward to this discussion for a while. A little bit of a different episode of Cartoonist Kayfabe, but one I'm eager to dive into after we look at Red Room.
Paperback, man. For
Red Room, the Antisocial Network, is coming out November 9th, 2021, man. 208-page book.
Sorry.
Collect the complete 4-issue miniseries.
The fire truck knocks people over in GTA. The water cannon.
Oh.
Take that, protesters.
That's not right.
You gotta clear the woke trash off the streets, Ghost Michael.
And on top of the issues.
What?
Don't say my name. You're gonna dox me. People are gonna find our address, home phone.
They will.
Mobile, everything.
No joke. You know, actually, that's when I got off Facebook, dude. It got really hot there for a little while. I think when Trump first got elected, or anyways, the riots were going on.
But if you're seeing this video after that date, when the book is available, they instructed me to send you to Amazon if you don't have a good comic shop in town, because Amazon bought half the print run. So we gotta make sure that disappears if there's ever going to be.
So it's these two, it's the discussion post to marijuana, discussion post citation.
But obviously, check with your comic shop first, man. Get it there if you can.
Congratulations, man. This production was great.
Yeah.
Comics look good. This film looked good.
Yeah, it turned out great. It's the best book I've made.
Awesome.
And let's
I have
check
Plain
in.
Janes just in
That
time
was,
for
you know,
the shopping
it's not
season
political,
for the
yeah.
young adult reader in your life. This is my 500-page
God.
shoujo manga about a group of high school artists who
Oh, Evil Fly, dude. For real.
start making public art and creating quite a problem in their local community. So 500 pages of their adventures making art and making trouble in their small town. You can get that wherever you find books and comics, such as comic shops or online on Amazon. And you can join me on patreon.com/JimRock, where you can download out print zones and minis. You can see my original art scripts and process, how I make Plain Janes, Street Angel, Octobriana, and much more at patreon.com/JimRock. But we are here today because I read an essay that talks about Alex Toth taking this course.
Now the cops are going postal.
At least the first couple of lessons and talking about it, and I believe that this is where a lot of his, what I love about Alex Toth, you could learn a lot of that in this lesson.
Jimmy, I really appreciated cracking this open from my big box of, big Xerox box full of these course books. And the insecurity that I felt inside as I went page after page after page, I felt like they were scolding me. Because, I'm comparing the lessons from this with the latest pages that I've, just recently drawn.
I appreciate
And just seeing how I could make
as far as I can, because she only uploads it week by week.
if I
You can't
just
work it.
kept this kind of stuff at the front of my thoughts, man. So this is an episode for makers. I
Right.
can never know enough when it comes to the art of picture making, man. Like you can never, if you have the hubris of thinking that you know it all,
Yeah, it was a lot of button presses.
there is so much.
If you miss the radio off button, yeah.
Pages worth of stuff, man, that I directly was able to apply to my work and just saw visible results in an instant.
These are neat documents. Both the famous artist and the famous cartoonist courses, because they're taught by pros. Albert Dorn is one of the artists credited in this chapter. We talked about him in the past with some of his cross-hatching marks and things like that. So you get real people who are making a good living doing this, weighing in on how they do it. Very quickly, composition, arrangement of the objects in the picture. And I think there's stuff that even a writer of comics could learn from this.
I've got to do I got to record a video of
and
me
my
doing
scripts are super loose. It's just so I know what I need to get on the page. But that's essentially it. I'm figuring out the objects I need in that panel or in that page. And, that's my idea. And then it becomes how do you put those things together? And that's what this is all about. And I'm going to kind of jump ahead pretty quick here. I highlighted some stuff, but I'm trying to think of what we actually need to get into the illustrated examples here. That's basically the premise, right? Is figure out what you need to put on there and then figure out how best to arrange it. And right away, we have a couple of lovers in the park and different approaches, close-up, long distance, medium shots, and then these notes on kind of like, what does this mean? You know, as a reader,
What
what are you
about,
taking away from? You know, a close up
this
maybe
one,
shows
what
you a
was it,
little more
Raiders of
personality.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Long
The-
shot establishing
that was
scenes. You know, like there are all these different techniques.
If it's not anticipated,
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever learned this
for at
before,
least the
but
discussion
it's kind of neat
posts.
to have it laid out like
Because
this.
these ones
Absolutely. I can
responses,
see myself revisiting
this
this
actual,
exact
it's within the
thing
discussion
very
page.
regularly,
So
like
the
just
actual
rereading
thing
it a whole
is
bunch, just keeping these thoughts
And
and
then
ideas
if
at the
you-
front of my
so
mind.
then
Maybe the second that I feel
to
the least bit
verify
stale,
this
or
role
I've been laying out my comics
again.
like all at once, so almost doing Marvel method,
So
coming up
then-
with my bullet points, knowing what needs to be on every page, and then just going in every day designing a page. The next day, design the next page. Going through repetition in that way, you run the risk of a little bit of complacency or something. You read this in between your making, man. You gotta figure some stuff out. And just with these images, like you can infer your own ideas. Like this could be, you know, a bit like a mugger point of view or something. Like there's so much. I'm a visual learner, you know, and the visual examples that they give us every step of the way really aids and abets the sort of points you're driving home towards.
By the way, if this is your mugger point of view,
Okay,
the
so
next
then
panel
that's the
you're
one
dealing
we're
with
getting
that becomes like the
Yes,
magic
and I've downloaded
where
the
it's like the
questions I've had
juxtaposition of two images. This could be the best day of their lives, or it could be
They're
a
on
worse
there.
based on what shows up in the next image.
It's fun, man. Like this is like the science of comics that is just the magical thing, man. I said it on one of our kind of like weekly shows. We were coming home from the first SPX I went to.
I actually do want to show you my
Just
poster.
said something you can't argue.
I totally ripped it off from a lot of
conversation. And I mean, that's the stuff that we're talking about here today.
It is interesting how subjective this all seems, right? Like I'm drawing a picture, you know, if you drew the same picture, it'd look totally different. But there are these pieces that, like, we all see the same thing, you know, if it's done clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's your
so this is
concept.
pretty fun, you know, showing these elements of like a Western. You have the two characters in a tree, and then arranging them in different ways. And again, like what works, what doesn't, and why. They're really clear about that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's
talking
from
about balances of the page, where things overlap.
which page?
Talking about tangents.
It was
Oh,
when they had a day.
One thing that's interesting here is this is hard stuff to talk about, and somehow they make it very, very clear.
Because of the visuals. Because
There's
it's a very
photos
simple
inside.
thing, like here's
I
a
was
rock,
gonna say,
here's
when you talk
the
about, see, you
picture
may want to
of
break
a
that
person,
up
you
into
know,
two
here's a
shifts,
sailboat,
like
and now
10
let's
a.m.
arrange these things, man.
to
Like
12,
it looks a little unclear here, but
morning,
like it looks like
1
everything
to
stays the
3.
same.
It shouldn't last all the way to 4.
And that's what I'm saying.
Because when I was talking to
And one of the things I
my
think
beneficiary,
one of
it's
the
like
things that
4
I
at the
don't
latest. It shouldn't run.
always have at the front of my thoughts whenever I'm making a page.
So, I mean, you can have one big shift.
I do think
like,
in terms of
coming
bullet
in,
points,
you know what I
I
mean?
could also
but
just
I
have
don't
them
often think in terms
drop in
of
at any time because it's not
picture
really.
dominance or something, like the dominant object, like in a picture.
That's
And
something
that's
that
not
you might
always the same
ask,
thing. Like
Mr. Doty, Mr. Clyde.
like for instance, like this is
Ask
the
him,
focal point.
is it-
This is the dominant piece
this
of
would
the
be a
image.
project that I
And I
can
don't
have
think in those
these
terms
hours
of
are out there
this,
to drop in. You think it would be better
lesson
because you like
has reinforced that point
you know,
in my mind, man.
get
And
people
now
on
it's
things
like
like
in my
morning
brain
and then afternoon.
when I go back and
Because I know
design
that's
pages.
what we do.
I like these. Like I like all three of those
And
compositions.
then,
You know, for different purposes, of course, but also same with like a woman, a doorway, a little coffee table, and a lamp. And same deal. Like I think all three of these compositions are interesting for different reasons. I mean, so dramatic. This to me is your Alex Toth. And like we could point out the Toth composition this here.
This is the Toth.
Amazing.
This is the big toe.
Because it's
And that's like the clouds.
non-scout.
Damn, dude, that's really great.
Because like you could even do this. This is the dynamic. Like
People that
you know,
you
this is
contact.
Kirby. This is
I worry.
Chris Ware. And then you know this is some jobber,
this
some
is the
mid-carter.
retreat.
I hate to do
Which
it,
goes up
but
to
I was
the
going to
this
say
is where it
Apocalypse. It feels so cinematic, you know, like we're zooming in on this boat. Something's going to happen on this boat.
And you found it.
Wars are coming, you hear?
Austin, oh, you know what? I did highlight on the previous thing, the pencil is the artist's thinking tool. It's just language that's in there, but I thought that's really fun. And the idea is do these quick sketches,
Yes,
you know,
it
work
will
this
be
stuff out,
different
figure out your
concepts,
elements,
and
and then
some
do a
of them
couple
are
of different
scouted.
variations.
Very nice
So
one.
here we're looking
You
at
see
the
what I mean?
four main elements of composition. They give area, depth, line, and value. Area being like a dominant
Yeah, you
element,
may
you know,
wanna
based
have
on size
look
that you
at
were
the
talking about with
second.
that rock on the previous page.
Just a
Depth,
small bit.
obviously.
Just
And this
to
has come up a
probably
lot, like
Right,
trying to
right.
make it look like
Second.
there's you've got a 2D
just so they know.
image, but try to make it look three-dimensional.
Right.
Interesting, Klaus Janson, when we talked to him, that
And
was
then
something he
you just
mentioned as a
need
limitation
to
in comics, and trying to figure out
double
how
check
to
with
create
Mr.
that feeling of depth.
I'm gonna
Line is it could be an outline of something, like literally, but it's the way they're using it is directional, and that's where your tangents can be a problem. Like that really stood out to me because like you're coming in on a horizon line or something. The idea with the line is to control
Message
what
about
we're looking
what?
at, create that point of interest. And if you've got tangents
Oh,
running
yeah,
off of your panels, you get into all kinds
And
of
then, yeah,
events.
then you should get this saved by, get the approval from your scoutmasters. Then you should ask, you know what I mean, like Mr. Clyde, and Miss Hamilton, if they would send that out in a troop email. You know what I mean? Get it out to the troop, and then we'll print some, and you're gonna hand them to people as well. Does that make sense?
And I say that because like having that flip touch the end,
Oh.
like that can easily you can make the argument that takes you out of the image.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, like so like that is a tangent. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the composition, they
Chicken
try to make
butt.
the argument that it's keeping you in the thing. None of this is perfect because it is not science. So I want to say that up front, just so that this doesn't seem so overwhelming.
Yes, baby.
It is true. It is true, and it's like even comics.
I spotted another one of the rares.
Mm-mm.
I'm talking about it's the sea monster that I spotted it, and I was shocked. And then I wrote the out thing, and I don't know what's going on. So I'm doing accelerating good.
I saw you bristle when Klaus Janson said he wasn't part of the school.
Stardew News, bro.
Picture making made me sad. where the focus is on like making beautiful pictures, but maybe it's not the most exciting. It's exciting to an artist because you look at that like, oh yeah, man.
T-Bone, pump your brakes, babe. Take a chill pill. And just lay back and let the red mist fall.
Devices, though, and especially like this.
Sorry, I'm distracted. This is the fourth time I've played this
In
shit.
photography, like they tell you to like look
Gotta
for
make
those
this
like
quick.
hard
Mike
angles.
doesn't got much time on his battery left.
And what's worse, it's not that hard either. No. I suck.
Mike can hear golf.
Seagull?
Shit, that could be anywhere in this town.
He can hear heavy
So,
machinery.
picture area. This is what you were talking
Heavy
about.
machinery?
Again,
What is that, a building site or landfill or something?
There's a building site in Doherty.
They go through and they kind of talk about what are you getting out of this? Like let's see the same image, super close up, super far away, and in this case there's nothing else there, so it's just a matter of how much emphasis do we want to put on it. Maybe it's important to see an expression, so you do something closer. But once you introduce like
just
the
hang in there,
second
Mike.
element,
Help is
then
on the
it
way.
changes completely. Like this guy is clearly dominant compared to the person in the far background. Here, less so, and obviously pretty much the same weight because of the same size. And
like it just sells you on like this is boring. Like you're fighting nature to try to create a 3D image on a 2D surface. So you're really fighting against yourself.
Monotonous, the word they use for it. So yeah, it's kind of boring if that's on itself. By the way, occasionally you want boring. When you're drawing a ninja or an assassin or something that's sneaking into the page or into the scene, and you don't want your reader to focus on them. You can use these tricks.
Yeah.
If you're doing a mystery comic, like you can do a lot of sleight of hand, knowing how to make your image or your element be not the dominant piece, or have a boring moment and direct the eye elsewhere. Varying your sizes, again, basically your picture area, and then some of these examples of how that may actually play out in a real drawing or illustration. Again, you see this stuff, and it's hard for me not to think about it.
Come on, dude. That was way too much.
The black pushing the foreground elements so that there's no mistake that you better be looking at that little barn house or whatever that is.
Yeah. It's some really good natural framing within a panel.
He says he can hear a truck reversing.
Well, we start
he
getting
says it's
into
busy
the
like a freight
overlap.
depot or something.
Now this is the stuff.
Oh, they must be down
that
at the dock.
I personally
Get to the
struggle
docks in
with a
Easter
lot,
Basin.
man. And it could be like, say there's carpet bombing, dropping missiles from an airplane or something. Like, do you
Hey, we'll be
space
there in a
all
minute,
the
Mike.
missiles? Like, do you overlap them? And if you do,
Mike's cell phone battery's running low.
the missile completely go through
Shit,
another one.
he says
says they stopped. Then he heard gunfire. He thinks they just shot their way through a security gate.
When you're trying to draw
They don't
a piece
have
of
heavy
chaos,
security at the docks, but they do at the airport's
some
freight
sort of,
depot.
To the airport,
natural,
rápido.
arrangement that you start to build that prevents it's divorced from chaos. Like you're thinking in terms of clarity and stuff.
Mike and their aircraft taking off and landing.
Properly to get a natural composition. These are
Hey, don't worry,
extreme
Mike, we're nearly
examples.
there.
You know, these are clearly yeah, don't do that. You're getting kicked out of the Hubert school. You draw some shit like this.
There's the gate.
And some
Yeah,
good
get
security
tracing
goals.
paper out here. Put
Hey,
a red
this is
X
the
on this one.
Keep your eyes peeled for that van.
You know, you could see the point
now, Holmes.
of
Tag. The hell is a
what they're
tag?
doing here.
After
I
that last
love
bit of
these
trouble,
kind. So this
Mike
is
hit the
this is your
transponder
cropping
in
stuff
the white.
too. Everything is
We was
visible. It's
gonna
not
follow it to the
overlapping.
gang, but
And then
something
here a
must
little
have
bit more
fucked
interesting
up.
because we have
And
the
now we gotta
cropping
use it
and
to
some
find the
overlapping
van
elements.
and
Same
rescue
with these
Mike.
two.
Oh,
I
how
think
it work?
there is an intuitive
Closer
element,
we get,
right? How much does it
stronger the
overlap?
signal.
Where is that crop going to happen? But it's so interesting to me just to see this is the no overlap, no crop. I've seen panels
there
like
they
that.
are.
I've seen comics like that. I naturally go to this place, but I acknowledge that in spite of whatever's in that frame, because that's whack. That fucks it up. But I acknowledge playing with sizes. I know that I like this more because I like that. Yeah, and it's pretty much what they're saying. This is a little bit more interesting. You're having these shapes interact with themselves. One thing that this all reminded me of, and I'm going to go back here to the monotonous panel. There's a form of comics that have become popular where it is they're talking.
What am I doing? Oh, gun change, gun change, gun change.
And it's why you need find ways to make that interesting. Whether it's
What fucking happened, bro?
It doesn't have to be
Bro, how did you die?
kind of splash pages to make a comic or a
No, the gun change thing is just
be conscious of this stuff and don't just repeat.
you got to memorize it like a guitar. No, it's really frustrating, dude.
Insecure, where I was looking at my my pages that I just did over the past month.
No, this is the 4th or 5th time I've done this mission, and it just it's my fault. I pressed the wrong button at the wrong time, dude.
And after looking at these examples, I could see how I could.
I can't. You scroll weapon the wrong way, and it just.
Looking drawings. It's funny
But yeah, this was from a time when they were really struggling with weapon choice. They kind of still are.
Obviously, but
how do you swim? Well, fuck, dude. How about
they're interesting for those reasons because so few
take that shit out of there? Something, dude. I'm carrying flowers, grenades, fucking flamethrower, a chainsaw. And yeah, then you're in a combat situation and you got to cycle through all that. You can't just select the one you want. You got to cycle through there. And at the same time, you have to look at your character and the fucking screen. But then your weapon choice is up in the right-hand fucking corner. So then you have to take your eyeballs off of your character. No, it just... And then the key... just, Jesus, dude. Really, guys? Amadeus, huh? That's all we're doing. It's Amadeus except Simon Says. It's you're not actually playing the music, you're responding, right? Or they could argue you're learning it, you're learning the music. And the only way to learn the proper button press, the instrument, that this is a musical instrument and you have to learn. It's more than that. It's the anyways, it is the music. It's something.
These aren't rules exactly, but if you look at popular images, you're going to find these things.
Something. It's just really weird. Yep.
Not rules, but decent practices.
But yeah, I know if it's too easy, it's boring too. So I know.
Would be canceled if
Erg.
if we couldn't do symmetry. But you see how boring it is to just line them all up, no overlap, do a little bit of overlap, just to make it more interesting.
Hold on 1 minute. As soon as this episode's over, I'm gonna shut it down.
Going through this, let's now take a real image and apply these kind of principles, which is pretty fun to do. So you see the main shapes that are making up this composition, and then pulling those out. If you're going to have a dog that's cropped a little bit, make sure the dog features are visible. Let's see its face, its muzzle, its tail. The things that make us identify it as a dog, make those visible. Yeah, and you see that it's going all the way through. That was an important thing for me. this like panel where there's a guy underground at this level, super foreground, just legs, feet coming towards the guy, and I could see that like there was a way for me to build his figure much bigger if I just had the courage to overlap and like have.
Hey, Caesar,
his
the Yay leaving San Fierro, right?
Right, but they're using bikes, CJ. They go cross country.
Walking towards him, you know. So like that's what I'm saying. Like you can apply this stuff to your own.
Okay, I'm gonna see what I can dig up.
And Rockwell's a good example because, in terms of illustration, like his compositions are studied to death. Man, like he's considered to be a great composer.
Yeah, it's great to see this stuff too because like there's nothing extra. You know, he's not putting he's not. We talk about adding detail, you know, to cover up maybe a poor drawing or whatever. There's nothing extra in this. Like you really can't break them down into a couple of components and then it's not great components. You need to see them as shapes. You know, they all read. They're like clearly that's still a dog, even if you get no information. All right, so you know, moving through like each of these elements now, thinking about depth and how do you create depth in your two-dimensional picture and to what effect. So, you know, in this case, it's almost like we're right up against this action because of where this first figure is placed. And, you know, you can see variations here. It's further away. But if you want a tense situation, put us close to that. You know, like you would not want to be in this position with these two guys pointing guns at each other and having their showdown. So, you know, dramatic effect to create that depth and figure crop both top and bottom, you know, like you really are like up against it.
You see that he is on a horse, you know, like he targets so much that you won't get that
Yeah.
story coming in. So it's a good one. And again, show us some variations, talk about what we're seeing in those variations. And this comes down to that idea, again, from the scripting in the beginning of like, they're talking, so they've got to be close enough to be in, you know, in sound range of each other, whereas like that's one of the failures of this. It's a very dramatic composition, but you don't get that, you know, back and forth tense interchange because they're so far away. So, you know, I think that's for a writer out there something to consider. How much information do you need? What's important? These guys are confronting each other. You need them to be within shouting range at least. And the overlap is so clutch to me, like in these two, because I just know I would. I would have this horse over here and like crop it, or you know, have it reduced enough that you would see the complete horse tail and shit. Because for some reason, I thought that that's the right thing to do. But like, going through
tricked me.
this course book,
The whole thing is tricky. Engineered tricky. Yep. It goes downhill here to make you think you're going the wrong way. Once you're not going uphill.
misinformation in my mind, man, and it just felt wrong. Like I'm being honest with myself here. Like I know that I would like push him over more because I maybe just in academic discussions with picture making, it's like if you have the room to do it, like do that. If you have the room to get the full course in there, you just do that. And I look at this image and I'm like, no, this is strong. It creates that much better.
It does. It puts them in the same space.
It does.
Which emphasizes the, you know, like the tension between the two. Yeah. I asked you about, you know, if that's a shortcut you're afraid of making. Because for myself.
Yeah, no,
and I'll see images and it'll be like, man, I wouldn't do that because of, you know, I think I don't want to cheat the reader. And then it's like, but I love this panel, so reevaluate. I've done that a lot in the last decade.
Go to the cartoonist kayfabe spread shot. What would Alex Toth do? is the shirt that's become our biggest hit, man, as seen on Brian K. Vaughan at New York Comic Con. Shouts to Brian. That's the thought that would come into my mind, like when that idea of like shortcut or whatever. That's what I'm talking about when I see the Toth panels or the Jaime Hernandez panels, where they come up with this insanely smart, truly clever way of getting information across that I know I would have just been, you know, quote-unquote detailed heavy. The example I gave you when we talked about it was like characters in the pharmacy. They were drawing every pill bottle to me, hating myself while I'm doing it, thinking that I know that Alex Toth and Jaime would have figured something much more economic and smarter and more beautiful out than what I'm doing.
Where's he going, dude?
That's so funny. Moving on to line, this is directional devices and kind of giving us an indication of how those work. You have a white road, that's going to be a line that appears to your eye. Same with like a white sky like this, having lines going off your page. It's interesting, like this is one of those things that I think is, I don't want to say intuitive, but I feel like if you do this right, reader's not going to notice it. It's when you do something really egregiously wrong that this becomes more apparent. But again, when you do it right, it's the reason we celebrate Alex Toth and not somebody else, somebody that we don't know because they don't do it well.
I thought you were going to go put a card on the table.
I was trying to think of the bookworm, the other guy that drew bookworm.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember his name. But it's a subtle thing, right? Like, where are your clouds? Does it make a difference? And you're not going to buy or sell a comic based on this, but if you do everything right, it does add to the experience.
Here's the rub, Jimmy, and here's where we get to the place where, like, you see it most often in student filmmakers. They learn a concept, and they directly have to
Dude.
and it comes off so pretentious, so often. See, I'm being triggered here.
Yeah, dude.
Because, like, when we learn this kind of stuff, now everybody's page is selling you hard on every focal point. There's pipes in the foreground pointing to this thing, man. There's branches.
Yeah.
Like you can overdo it.
For sure.
You could totally overdo it. Be subtle. Let this stuff pop into mind. Draw your picture, and if you can imagine, like, oh, well, maybe I'm on this tree, or maybe a branch kind of like goes this way or something. Just do that. Grace notes, man. You could get overly pretentious. This is the stuff that we would be getting into, where in terms of the whole page composition and stuff, like there will be discussions about that. And now people are thinking that they're being clever, and they're creating tangents with the next panel just because they're trying to take these directions. You could really fuck this up. This is high octane shit we're talking about right here.
You know what's real interesting is, like, if this were a 4-panel grid, suddenly this becomes, this road, a great directional device into your next panel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the pages do complicate this, for sure. And like we said, a minute ago, Wes Anderson breaks most of the rules we're talking about and is considered a visual director. So, certainly, you know these rules and then you play with them. It's not like every panel needs to adhere to all of these things. So, back to using line, this is just more examples of those directional devices. And I think, like,
Just wasting my bullets, maybe.
This is much more effective. There's definitely stuff that's pulling you away from the action in this panel compared to, we're going towards each other here.
Yeah, in that beautiful frame.
This one I think is less obvious. I'm not going to argue that this isn't the best of this group, but I think it's a little bit less obvious than like this one to me stands out as being like, yeah, clearly.
Yeah, this is more about the overlapping of stuff than just the lines. Right.
Okay. Hurry up, guys. Wrap it up. Okay, babe. I gotta get off here.
Maybe this is
Come on, guys.
And then finally, value. Fairly self-explanatory. High contrast is going to be your focal point, usually whenever it comes to value, and this is giving you some options of...
No, 10 minutes of your life down the drain is just...
minus the values, line drawing, or very similar value. This is what I used to see in my art classes.
That's how they create false value. Yep, or value, period. Yep. You're paid by the hour, dude. You get paid by the hour. Fucking employee.
And that's where I started to appreciate contrast.
Oh, that hurt, bro.
That I'd be like, wow, that drawing's really
All
good.
right.
They were the ones that were pushing value. And, you could go to extremes and think of something like Frank Miller's Sin City, where there's essentially 2 values on the page.
It looked like I did everything right, and then when I jumped off to grab the package, it disappeared right before I got there. Like, pretty quickly, dude. That's a pretty short fucking timer, dude. So maybe I did it wrong. Maybe I was supposed to grab. I'm sure it was something. Like I said, I'm sure it was something I did wrong. I get it. Sure it was.
These curly, beautiful shapes to just get some black behind something that he wants to stand out as white up front, and you could learn a lot. And you know what many people have, man. There was like a whole whole culture of
There's been a
Mignola
generation
cats,
of
man.
at least one, maybe two
But
generations.
yeah, it's
You know, the other
amazing
place
how
to
these
look are
podcasts
the
can
black
drag
and white
on.
silent movies. Like
When
those
you're
guys
ready
get
for it to
composed in
go,
black and white. So
when you're
I
ready for
think
it to end,
Mignola
like
probably
you
has
don't
made
notice
quite a
when it's
bit of
background
black and
music,
white
but
for
when
those
you're sitting
movies,
there
but
waiting,
you
it is.
can
You
learn
just kind of.
those same lessons. Like you can go back and seek those movies and see what I'm talking about. But kind of illustrated here in front
No,
of
watch.
in
What?
terms of this course. And that's basically the wrap of this chapter. You know, a couple of more examples here, whether it's showing
Oh shit, that's only a chapter.
motion lines, making a figure pop against the relatively complex landscape there. So
No, I gotta
a couple
go,
of
dude.
funny
I can't play
tangents
this game right
and
now
you know, a
anymore.
couple
You're
of
home.
examples of that.
It's
Pretty great. 20 pages and there's
no,
a
we're
crash
almost done.
course in composition. Like it gives me a lot to think about. This was the second time I went
Dude,
through this course, and I think there's a lot for me to apply to my own work. And I think about this stuff, but you know, there's still it's not obvious all the time.
So much. It was a pleasure to go through this, man. You gotta have a lot of self-awareness when it comes to making your comics. You gotta be honest with yourself, man. And as I'm going through this, looking through my shit,
So you're
I can
waiting for
promise
your...
you,
I'm gonna turn all this off so you can talk.
as I move forward. And I'm gonna keep this, you know, by the side of the drawing table. Perhaps even have this video in my bookmarks. And I encourage other people to do the same, because you could do far worse in your drawing education than go through this famous.
No, see what I mean?
Plus,
No, do you see what I mean about fuck, dude? Wrap it up, motherfuckers.
To speak a little language to him.
That's only because you're lying.
No, that's what I'm. You don't. Well, you don't notice until you're actually paying attention. You're like, dude, you started saying fucking you were done 5 minutes ago, and you just.
Let's do the landing
It's
course
like
as a
so reminding me of, and maybe that's
cartoonist kayfabe
like
community.
started doing them
Check
that like
in
those
once a week or
commercials.
something like
Yeah.
that.
It's like no, it's just something, you know, it's not always news.
Oh, noticeable, but then it gets to where.
And then like you're like, wait, is this a commercial? Are they still talking? And then what are you even talking about? Like no, these get like that. Like, wait, what are you
Yep,
talking
that's
about?
right. Yep. And you don't notice until you're paying attention, and you're like, dude, you keep saying the same thing in a different way. And not bad, but yeah, it's one of those things you don't notice until you notice. When you're actually waiting for it. Like, oh, hey, no.
You should get it in time for the holiday season. And if you are seeing this video after,
It's still going, dude.
you don't have a good comic shop in town.
It's kayfabe, and I love kayfabe. That's I never noticed before. But no, when you're sitting, Anton is the word. It's a new thing because I'm trying to sync it with my gameplay. So I'm waiting for the podcast to end, so then I can pause and then go run a mission. And so
did you make it past that mission finally?
No.
You can subscribe to the Cartoonist Kayfabe e-newsletter.
And then I failed a side mission on top of that.
T-shirts and merchandise.
That's the one when I failed the side mission. No, it's still going, dude. They've been saying goodbye for how long now? No, I should go back and fucking like time it. Like, how long were you guys? Anton was killing me last night. No, I just noticed more. And when you're waiting on it, you'll notice how, like, okay, they're not really saying anything. Holy shit, you went on for another 5 fucking minutes without really saying anything. You're just filling. But I think that's the algorithm. They're looking for a certain size length. So they're padding, anyways. And they all do it. But yeah, you don't notice till you notice. And you're like, dude, you're fucking kidding me. Me and Buzz were talking about it today. It's a captive audience thing.
Mm-hmm.
And people can,
Yeah.
It's watch time.
Watch time.
So instead of views, you don't get paid for the amount of views you get.
It's the watch.
You get paid for the amount of ads watched and how long they watched your video for, how long they spent on the platform.
Yeah, so you're trying to pad them, just like ASMR. No, you're trying to ASMR them. You want it on in the background. And how many people do? I did kayfabe like that every morning. Well, I still do it. I'm just playing GTA while I do it now.
So the longer you can keep them on,
The more
you make.
Yeah, but some are bad. Some are like the first 2 minutes.
in
That
my
they've given you all the information, really. And the next 8 minutes is just,
They got it because they have to make it to 10 minutes to get it monetized in the first place.
uh-huh, yeah.